Does drop out. Looking pretty tricky for these competitors out here at the moment, working with small transitions but fitting some decent turns in. Bede Durbidge coming into this heat off the back of a runner-up finish at the Quicksilver Pro France. John Florence, he's looking for a big finish in 2015. And C.J. Hobgood, well, we know that this is C.J.'s, well, really just an enjoyable year for him. He announced his retirement back in Fiji, but has just fallen short. But this one ridden during the break. This is John Florence.
Well, I think of John Florence and Super Tubes, and it just seems like the absolute perfect recipe for nothing but victories. This wave is so suited for John. He's amazing in the barrel. He can bust big airs in the most impossible sections. So, you know, I'd be really shocked if John doesn't at least make the quarters.
The third longest serving member on the championship tour at the moment, behind Kelly Slater and Taj Burrow, as we see John attacking. A smaller wave, but he's looking deadly. A couple of explosive moves there. Plenty of time left for these three surfers, to lock in some big numbers. And just some small numbers coming through as C.J. Hobgood has another look there. Caught C.J. just down the competitors area before he paddled out. He knew that it was going to get more difficult with the tide dropping. He knew that sandbar was going to really bottom out. As we see Bede Durbidge utilising priority. Strong first turn and just blows the finish, but was on his way to probably one of the better scores in this heat so far, and he knows that it's a lost opportunity.
And yet again, very familiar territory for Bede Durbidge. This looks a lot like Stradbroke Island where he's from, so he'll be comfortable with these tight little nuggety peaks.
Well, here's CJ having another look here. Looking for his best ride. First turn's nice. Keeps him down the line speed. Gets a little tangled up on the closeout. 15th season as CJ keeps busy on the inside without priority. So good at tucking into those little barrels. Looking for a finish. Tries a layback, but can't complete. Top 10 hasn't been back. But looking good this year as John Florence finds a decent looking wave and gets a big finish. Not super deep on the barrel, but one of the better rides that we've seen in the heat so far. It's Bede Durbidge with priority. His last wave at 2.93. Let's see if he can finish this one off. Drives up into that first section. Looking super in tune with his equipment at the moment. Well, a big opening manoeuvre. And then a couple of decent supplementary manoeuvres on the inside. Just under 18 minutes to go.
So a lot of these waves, the ones that you're looking for, they kind of bend out to sea. That gives you a little more space to open up. And right there, that first turn, you can see how flat the face was. That really allowed him to turn where he wanted. He wasn't cramped and forced to go for a floater. You know, he had some space to rip into a carve. So that's one of the better turns we've seen in a couple hours. So it should be a big score for Bede. Nice little barrel, but he didn't get super deep. But I love the reflexes from John. Just up to the roof really quick there for a float. But again, Bede's he should open up a big score there.
Over there in Hawaii at Maui, the Target Maui Pro kicking off November 21st, and a great showdown about to unfold as we see John Florence up once again. A couple of decent moves on this ride. And really willing to scrap for the scores on the inside.
Yeah, I picked up on that too. I like the energy from John there. He looked, you know, very alert. Each time he had a little bottom turn, he pivoted off really hard.
And C.J. Hobgood, he finds one. He gets some cover. He's going to push his way through the curtain. Finds the exit. Not much of a section to work with on the inside though. Just over 16 minutes remaining. And Bede Durbidge completes the exchange, but can't finish the turn. 16 minutes remaining.
Pazel with, you know, John as we watch some action here on the back end of Bede. Loving Bede's work as well. I mean, this is Stratty to a T, right, guys? I mean, this is a wave beach break that he would very similar to. But just wanted to give you some insight. These boards that John been riding, pretty much the same rocker.
Experience with shapes and designs and how they would help a surfer. John, to me, his boards are pretty chippy. They have really thin rails. How do you think that helps him out here?
Well, I think that it makes it really sensitive. It allows it, you know, especially on that wave we just saw, right, where he kind of has to weight it off the bottom. But as soon as he gets into that moment where he has to have that tight arc, he's able to do that. How is that gaff, guys? Whew. But, okay, well, anyway, you'll see it in a sec. Yeah, anyways, get back to some action. They're still hot and heavy out there, but you know the rules.
With what he was watching unfold as C.J. tucks into the barrel, and that is another one of those miracle makes from C.J. because he was well behind the foam ball and really dug in on that last bit of wall that was on offer.
Well, I knew CJ would be hounding those little pits. And, you know, again, this is not your token shampoo. You know, I know the waves are kind of small, but they're very throaty. They're boxy. And so CJ, great navigation through that. He had to thread that needle. I mean, there's not much room for error there. And for sure, he went up and over the foam ball inside that little pit. So great tube riding and a nice icing on the cake there with that little layback hack.
As we see John Florence up. He bottom turns straight into the pocket. Bashes the lip again on the second maneuver, but that's all that ride is going to serve up. Looks like CJ's score coming through. 4.23. It looks like CJ has scored for that last ride.
I'm not 100% sure he completely cleanly rode out of that layback hack, and I think that made a difference. But that tube, you know, again, I loved how technical it was. He was as deep as you could possibly be in a small barrel. So, you know, I feel what you're saying there, Ronnie, and I share your thoughts. I think, you know, the score could have been higher. It looks like to me, just barely not riding out of that nice little layback snap. I think had he ridden out of that, it could have gone a point higher, but, you know, I'm not really happy with it either. I would have liked to have seen a couple more points on that.
John can find a nice corner, a good wave, but he's ready to do something special for us. C.J. Hobgood, he's also looked sharp as John takes to the air. And that was one of those corners we were hoping for, but just lost contact with the transition as he looked to ride out of that maneuver.
I love watching John surf. He's such a needle mover. You know, at any given heat, he might do one of the best airs we've seen in competition. So, you know, he's just a very exciting surfer to watch. He does not hold back, that's for sure.
Definitely pushes the bar up. Anytime he's looking at a section and has the opportunity to take to the air, it's exciting, and he had beautiful form throughout this air, Ross.
He really did. Just couldn't quite get over his board. You saw his body wasn't perfectly matched up with the board as he was trying to go into that landing. Look at Bede. He's going, please,
no,
don't grease that landing to fight for that world title.
And here's Bede Durbidge, using priority for this wave, bashes the first section, drifts the tail on the second maneuver and rides out. Looking to drop a 6.57 to increase his lead over the field here with just under 7 minutes to go. Clash, starting with Bede Durbidge.
I love this turn right here. That must have felt so good for Bede to rip into that carb and come out of it with speed. I mean, that's the litmus test. You know, anyone can lean into a powerful turn, but if you come out of it cleanly with speed, that's when scores go big. So 7.6 for Bede, and a crafty tube riding for C.J. Hobgood. He got almost a 6-point ride for that. And I love how quick John was on this little left-hander. Really zippy off the bottom, nice little pivoty turns, and got 3 smacks, which means a lot. You know, today with this low tide, a lot of these waves are so fast, it's hard to keep up with it. So right now, Bede Durbidge, he's got himself a solid lead, 6.57, and then he backed it up with a 7.6. So, you know, again, John's so dangerous, though. You know Bede's looking over his shoulder to sit out a couple of events with injury.
Here we go, CJ with priority. He's going to take this one on the inside, puts his head down and digs into this little barrel, but can't find the exit with 4 minutes, 30 seconds to go. The year, as we see John Florence up, chasing a 7.8, looks for a bit of cover, but really, John wants to find those ramping sections so he can have another shot at stomping a big aerial.
Yeah, John utilized priority on that wave right there.
It is, and he wants to keep him off this ride and better his position. Huge vertical jam to get started. Throws his board up there once again and just working this wave over on the inside, but slightly overdoing it on that last turn as John Florence chases him down the line and looking to convert this last manoeuvre to push this score into the excellent range, but just some frustration on show there. Just over 2.5 minutes remaining.
Find it. Perfect example of how tight this little transition is. You can see just dug a little rail there after that snap, just looking for space. Again, looking for space, and again, that wave bottomed out, gave him no elbow room to launch.
It's not good seeing John frustrated, but it's good seeing that he cares about this result. This is a non-elimination heat, but he understands just how important that jump to round 3 could be.
I agree, and there's a couple things there. You know, it's one, it's a testament. Obviously, he wants the points to break into that top 10. 2, he knows that, you know, he's surfing at a level right now where he can produce some big numbers.
But with 30 seconds to go, we've got 2 surfers out there with a shot at it. Bede Durbidge, he doesn't have priority at this stage, but he's still hanging in there with John Florence, trying to apply some pressure as we come into the final stages of Heat 11. Will John Florence get to his feet? He's going to get an opportunity here, maybe. Having a look at a wave. The onside announcer counting this one down. He doesn't get to his feet, and Bede Durbidge holds on. But hang on, we might see fireworks here anyway. John Florence just bringing this one through to the inside. He throws the air reverse and does everything right, but doesn't quite stick the landing. That one after the hooter though. So John will have to fight his way through round 2, along with C.J. Hobgood, who finished up in 3rd place in Heat 11. And the man on screen, Bede Durbidge, coming off the back of a runner-up finish up there in France. Starts off his campaign at the Moche Rip Curl Pro Portugal with a round 1 win.